Welcome back. It's December.
Merry Christmas.
We're
Happy
back.
holidays.
Happy New Year.
Soon.
Pushing it. Pushing it.
Soon. Oh
One
my
holiday at a
gosh.
time. But we're back here. It is December. We are the Rip Roaring Realtors. Today's topics: how to stay off the naughty list as a realtor or stay on the good list. And all buyers are always on the good list, and sellers.
Most of the time.
Most of the
time.
time. Yeah. All right, Allison.
Okay, so how do you get on the naughty list as a real estate agent? I'd say it's pretty easy these days.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't take much.
Yeah.
The bar, unfortunately,
Is low.
yeah.
Some people trip and fall into real estate.
Unfortunately, it's too easy to become a realtor. I think we've talked about that before. It's too easy to become a realtor, and not all realtors are created equal.
Yeah. So here's a controversial topic. I just read something about this the other day. We all love when you have a listing, you love when you get feedback from the people who take the time to show the listing. The sellers have vacated the home. They've gotten their kids together and the dog, and they're out. They want feedback on their home. I read an article recently where the buyer said something to the agent, like, this house is crap. I hate it. And the agent submitted the feedback, maybe in better words. They changed their mind later and decided that they wanted to put an offer in. And that was used against them. The seller said, no way, I don't want to work with these people. So are you crossing a line by providing honest feedback? And does your client know whether or not you're providing honest feedback? Do we need to tell them what we're providing as feedback?
Interesting.
Because you're providing a service to the seller in giving your clients feedback. So is that a breach of trust? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Do you have to sugarcoat it?
I feel like,
I always try to.
The listing, I just massage it a little bit.
Yeah.
To
I
make
do
it look
too.
a little bit better.
Unless it really smells like dog or something like that. Like if it smells really bad, I'm like, it smells like dog.
It smells like shit. We're going to say, hey, the odor is a little strong.
Yeah.
sorry, your house is stanky. I once showed a house. I remember we walked right back out of it because the smell was so bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
the immediate feedback I gave him. Would have loved the house, but the stench, the smell was just something we
Odor.
Overwhelming,
You
yeah.
use odor, neutralize it a little bit. Don't have any pain points in
All
there.
right, let's also talk about this. Sellers, just because your house, you might know it smells. You do not need 14 Glade plugins throughout the house, so I had to put on a gas mask to make it through my shower.
I need my inhaler when I leave.
Yeah.
People's automatic assumptions are, well, number one, they might be
hiding
sensitive.
something.
And number two, they're probably hiding something.
They're hiding a smell. They know that it smells. They're hiding something. Yeah.
Get an ozone machine.
Yep. I actually offer that to all my sellers.
Yeah, you can
I have
rent
one.
them.
Yep.
Do you own one?
I own one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not that expensive
They're
on
50
Amazon,
bucks.
really. Yeah.
They used
And
to
they
be
work
super
well.
expensive.
Oh,
I rented hers.
Yeah. Yeah.
It worked like magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
They
dad
work
has
very well.
2 of them. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I just used
Interesting.
one on Oak Street.
Did you?
Don't name drop.
Oh, no, it's fine. She's like, what should I do about this? I'm a clean freak. I'm like, oh, I've got a solution for you.
Now, would it be if you're trying to mask a dampness odor in the basement?
That's a different story.
Dehumidifier.
Yeah.
Right? That usually
Sometimes 3 dehumidifiers.
it's Lancaster County. You should be
And
well aware.
Always have a dehumidifier.
Disclose,
Yep.
because it's going to come back.
Yep.
Don't get yourself in trouble. Disclose any issues you may know about.
Yes,
Yeah.
always.
Okay, so naughty or nice list
No, your nice list.
with our feedback. So how do you handle feedback with your clients? Like, is it a breach of trust to be providing a seller feedback if it's not very nice feedback?
Maybe what we need to do in that case is say to the buyers, hey, is it okay with you if we give honest feedback to the seller?
Yeah.
That way, if they change their mind and end up going back to the house, it's not on us that we said, hey, they hated your house.
Right.
I always try to let my buyers know that I am going to give feedback, but I never really say what it is. So it's like, and my buyer might come in there and think, this is a terrible place. But in the market and in that price point, it might not be terrible. So
Right.
my feedback might be different than theirs.
Agreed. Yeah.
I like to
So
give
do you
professional
put a
feedback.
little bit of your
Who
opinion
wins?
with the buyer's opinion? I
Yeah,
mix my
I always
opinion
do.
with the
Yeah,
I
it's
always
a
do.
blended
Yeah.
response, and I think
Yeah.
it should be. You want the professional
Also-
and the consumer opinion.
Yeah.
As a listing agent, don't have the feedback automatically sent to your clients ever.
No.
Never do that.
Because they could write any obscene thing in there they want, and it'll go directly to your client if you allow that. So
maybe we
make sure
need
you
to-
have that editing ability.
And maybe we need to explain a little bit about feedback. So we have an app. We schedule showings through this app. And once the showing is finished, we get a notification from the listing agent through the app asking for us to give feedback, meaning what the buyers thought about the home.
It's true. And if we don't put something in, it will hound us like
For years.
Like
For years.
It's only 4
like
days.
someone from the
No, it's
grave.
not.
4 days.
It's not 4 days. Okay, it hounds
And
you
then
for 4 days, but
a
then
weekly
it's still
email.
there.
It's still
It's still there on the little notification.
And
for a long time.
So an,
for years.
an agent in our office, she always told me, I remember walking, it was a couple of years ago, she walked into my office, she goes, you know what really bugs me is all these new agents, they can't leave you feedback. It takes you 2 minutes of your
not
time.
hard.
It's not difficult. It's a proactive thing to stay on the good list
Yes.
as a realtor.
Stay on the good list as a realtor. Okay. How about
More
another?
communication keeps you on the good list.
Yes.
Well, here, it just in everyone's defense, I would say at this time in this market, while we are in a changing market, the last couple years have been, if I don't hear from you, I'm going to assume you're not writing an offer.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes,
That's
that's
the feedback.
true.
And
That's true.
And that's all the
And no
feedback we
feedback
needed.
Yeah.
is
is feedback. I agree.
Yeah, things have been changing, definitely changing, but professionalism should not be changing. Our level of the bar is
Courteousness.
set should not be sinking. It should be going up.
It's not. It's not.
It varies with the location.
I
In order
mean,
to stay on the good list as a realtor, don't be a dumpster fire. Leave your feedback.
Well, there are realtors that when I see an offer come through, I know, oh, awesome. This is
Yeah.
going to be great. I'm going to work so well with them. And then there's other realtors that if an offer comes through, I'm like,
Hang on to your hats,
and
people.
you know what I'm going to do as the listing agent? If you do not have a good reputation with me as a realtor and you're on that naughty list, I'm going to let my sellers know if it's a competing situation. I have worked with this realtor before and the communication was lacking.
it was a tough experience. You
Yeah.
got to let them know that.
Yeah.
And that
Is that
absolutely
disparaging
affects.
another realtor, though?
It affects.
Technically not allowed to
ethics
do that.
code.
That's a good
But-
question.
Yeah.
But if we're working, like if Mike and I are doing a deal together and Mike doesn't answer me for 3 weeks,
I wish.
Oh, that's actually happened, hasn't it?
but you know what I mean? Like how I am doing a disservice to my seller if I do not say, hey, we have a realtor that I know is not going to communicate versus a realtor that I absolutely know is going to communicate. I'm going to give all of that information to my seller and let them decide. I'm not saying you can't go with this offer because this realtor is terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know what my past experiences have been with this realtor.
And I'll
'Cause
work
it
with
could
anyone.
Big time.
I'm
Yeah.
up for a challenge. We'll make it work. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Pinch your fingers.
What are you guys doing over there?
It's the holidays, man. Just try to get a little closer.
Merry and bright.
So communication. Communication is key. You have got
Paramount.
to communicate.
Over communication is better than not enough.
Yes.
Is what I found in this business. Just recently, it really hit me.
Sometimes you don't want to hear from anybody for a couple days. But I also find that.
But I would rather have an email 17 paragraphs long giving me everything
Yeah.
than having
Than
to
nothing.
ask questions about this and that
Yeah.
and that.
But I also don't want to deal with a micromanager.
Nope.
No. I
Doesn't
don't want to do
work.
my job. Don't try to micromanage me doing my job because that's going to be very irritating.
I'm difficult to be managed, so you can micromanage me all you,
You are
want.
difficult to
Most
be
agents
I'm not
probably
going to
are
respond.
difficult to
Yeah.
manage. That's
Mr.
why we
Wandering
are real
this
estate
week?
agents.
It's not the case. I've never been.
You can't lasso that boy down. He's too much to handle.
That's me.
All right.
Only this week.
And every other week.
Wrong one.
Wrong one. How else do we stay on the good side of things as a realtor? We talked about communication. I think doing your homework, right? I like to, hey, how interested are we in this? Like when we go to show a house, if they're like, oh, we love this. I'm like, or guys, I think this is really up your alley. I'm going to pull comps before. I'm going to go in with
Yeah.
I'm coming in loaded for bear.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to get a cost sheet from the lender so you know why we're in this house, because I already know you're going to love it.
Yes.
I'm going to get a cost sheet ahead of time so you know this is what your payment's going to be. This is what your closing costs are going to be.
And on the reverse side, if a buyer wants to see a house that you know is not going to be a good fit.
Yes.
I just had that last week.
I give my people a couple times, like, yeah, we'll go see it. But I'm going to tell them up ahead, here's why I didn't send this to you, or here's why I don't think this is going to be a good fit. And I'm going to let their own judgment go.
I knew of a listing coming on my team, so I shared it with some clients of mine. And then after I saw it, I was like, this isn't a good fit for them. But they're like, oh, we still want to go see it. We want to go see it. So we went out and looked at it. But we were halfway through the showing, and they're like, nah, this isn't going to work, which I knew going out. But it's okay.
Yep.
They got something else now that fits. So
Yeah.
And sometimes just as a buyer, a little FYI, just give us feedback in case, like, I feel like I have some clients who just like, I'm there like the jaws of life, just trying to get a comment out of their poker face, and just fill us in a little bit. And like, cause we could show you 1,000 houses, but if we can't read what you're actually into and what you're not into,
Yep.
or, you want to be at this price point, but then we're going to look at something $100,000 less, just fill us.
Well, and I feel like if you're working with a couple, usually one of them is more vocal than the other. So
Unless they're both non-vocal.
yeah, then it's
I'm in a pantomime.
So then I'm like, so what are we thinking? You guys are very quiet. Do we hate it? Do we love it? Like, what's happening?
No feedback, just feedback.
Some clients that I worked with for quite a while, like just looking at they were very specific. So it's not like we were looking at houses every week. It would get to the point we'd walk into a house and I would, within 30 seconds, I knew it wasn't going to be the right one. Cause I could tell, like, the wife was super quiet. She wouldn't say a word. And then the husband was like trying to find all the good things in it. I'm like, yeah, let's go. This isn't the one.
50% of you like it, and the other 50 clearly does not.
And
it's
that's
usually
okay,
51-49.
If we walk into a house and you immediately know that you don't like it, it is completely okay to say, hey, we want to go, because we don't want to waste your time or ours,
Also,
honestly.
It's okay to cancel too. If you see, if you drive by the day before and you don't like it,
And please drive
just
by.
let us know.
Please
Just let
drive
us
by.
know.
I really appreciate clients who do that.
I do too.
No one wants to
I do
waste
too.
their time.
And if I know, like we were talking about how we get to know our clients really well, if I know it's an area they're probably not going to like, I encourage them to do a drive-by, drive through the neighborhood. Let's do this before we see it, because I already know they're not going to like it.
Yeah.
I had a listing and there was a shooting around the corner from my listing. And, I mean, people need to know that, you need to do a drive-by. You need to know like what the area is like.
And here's a tip that I tell all my buyers, especially people out of town who don't know the areas.
Yes.
Call the police station.
I do too.
Ahead of time. They will tell you all the dirt.
crime.
They'll be
and-
like,
They'll tell you everything.
I wouldn't live on that street.
Yeah. Or you could even ask them. Call the non-emergency line. Don't call 911 and say, hey, I'm a 25-year-old single female. Is this a safe place for me to live? And they're probably going to say
every
they'll say yes or no. I would let my
front look.
daughter live there, or no, I would not.
Either I would be okay with my daughter living there, or no, I would not. I'm going to be honest. I've said that before.
Yeah, you can call any local police office and ask.
I know, but I've said I wouldn't let my daughter live here before.
I did too. I had a young 20-something-year-old looking, and I was like, you might want to check with the police station for this area.
Yes.
Just to see what the happenings are.
Because we can't, we can't steer, we can't do that, but we can say leading questions to get them to do their own due diligence.
Or is it crimewatch.com? Isn't it Lancaster Watchdog or something?
Yeah.
Yes, there is a site like that.
Yeah. But it's our job too to look out for our clients. So if we know it's not going to be a good area, we have to lead them to where they can find out that it's not going to be a good area. Carefully.
Yeah.
Carefully. Cautious.
We should probably cut all that out, because that's like
We should probably
telling
cut
the
all
line.
that out. Yeah. I was
do your drive-by shooting before you do the drive-by on the house.
on the border.
Yeah.
But we were trying to.
There you go.
Yeah.
We were trying to tiptoe around a subject that we shouldn't probably even be talking about.
Right.
So, all right. So we're going to cut them.
Cut that part.
God damn it. Cut it out.
What's the rest on the naughty or nice list? What do we have there?
14 seconds.
Okay.
Are we done?
Bring everyone sushi
No, we're
for
not done.
lunch. That's where we are. No.
You had one job, Mike.
I want to talk about builder representation when you're like builder buyer representation.
Okay.
Because I just this week had someone come to me. She messaged me on Facebook and she said, I need help. I need a realtor. Can you help me? And I was like, probably. What's going on? So they went to a local builder who shall not be named. And
Thou shall not be named.
Voldemort. They went to a local builder. And, you go into that model home and it is beautiful. It's all smoke and mirrors there.
Yes.
And there's a realtor there, right?
Can't wait
you
to move
go
in.
into the model home and there is a realtor there. That realtor, let me be clear, is representing the buyer. The builder, not the buyer. That realtor sitting in
Who is
the
the
model
seller?
home is representing the builder who is the seller of this home. These clients, not clients of mine, but customers, went in, they did that, they loved it. They were like, okay, we have a realtor because this person is a realtor, not realizing, because I feel like the general public has no idea that realtor who works for the builder is working for the builder who is the seller. Again, working for the builder who is the seller, not working for your best interest as the buyer. They signed, I'm telling you, they signed a contract.
Oh no. Don't ever do it.
This house is under agreement. It's almost $1 million house. And they signed a contract last year. No, early this year, very early this year. It's been almost a year. And they e-signed a lot of the documents. That builder representative, who is also a realtor, did not go over the documents with them. Okay, can you say, yes, the buyer should have done their due diligence and read through the contract? Absolutely. However, that's a 40-page document, and the buyer never does that. The buyer is never going to read 40 pages. So what that buyer needed to do is have another realtor that was not working for the builder represent them, because that realtor, one of us, would have gone over the agreement and made sure they knew all of the differences, because builders have their own contracts. It's not the standard Pennsylvania contract. They have their own contracts. They write them how they want them. This home did not appraise by a lot.
And it probably had no mortgage contingency whatsoever.
So
Because that's how a lot of builders
when
write it.
she messaged me and said, I need help, I said, okay, send me the contract, because knowing there's going to be language in there completely protecting the builder and not protecting the buyer in any way, shape, or form.
How low did it come in?
Over $100,000 low. So the mortgage contingency, what it said in there, because she was like, okay, well, I think we'll be able to get out on our financing, because they're not going to finance that extra $100,000.
Yeah.
We should be able to. And I said, well, let's see. So I looked through the contract, 30 days. The mortgage contingency was 30 days unless otherwise extended in writing.
Which started the day they signed the contract.
The day they signed the contract. It wasn't even built, nothing.
And the appraisal didn't happen until
The
6-7
appraisal didn't
months
happen
later.
until now, and it came in like $100,000 low.
So is this a brand new neighborhood? Well, I mean, yes, of course. It's new build.
Yeah.
Are they one of the first homes?
Oh, very old neighborhood.
No, they're not.
How does that happen?
How are they like the
How do you get
biggest
yourself in that pickle?
one in the neighborhood?
Even the model home in this neighborhood didn't appraise for the purchase price of the home that these buyers were
Sounds
buying.
like some fat margins or what? Like where?
So basically,
Price
the
gouging?
disclaimer here that I want to make sure that the general public understands is when you go into a builder and you are, you're under contract. Okay, you don't have a realtor. You really should have a realtor representing you. But if you don't,
If for nothing else, just to review the contracts, because that
Yes.
could save you.
in this case, $55,000, because they're considering walking away from this build because it did not appraise. And when it does not appraise, you can't get the mortgage for that amount. So that $100,000 now has to come out of pocket, and they are immediately going into a brand new home with a lot of negative equity. And how many years is it going to take
To recoup
to recoup
$100,000.
$100,000 on a new build?
Approximately 100,000 years.
I mean,
No, a really long time.
A really long
Because
time.
You're already. It's like buying a brand new car. The moment you drive it off the lot, it's not going to go down in value, but it's going to take so much longer to recoup that than if you had a
Assuming
resale.
on average in a bountiful market, you get 10% return on a year, right? Which
Well,
has
that's
been-
like excessive. We've
That's
seen
excessive. That's what we've
that's
seen
what
the
you're
last
gonna-
few years.
you're
It's
gonna see-
normally
all
four.
All right,
to
let's not all
four,
talk
yeah.
over each other. I'm just giving you
No.
a hypothetical mathematical equation.
Yeah.
In a prosperous, bountiful market, considering you have 10% positive return on a year, which you won't. So hope for 3 good years of that. That gets you 30 grand of that back, and then slowly decline. So give yourself 20 years, 15
long
to 20
time.
years. Yeah.
And if you're building that house and you're planning for it to be your forever home, amazing. But what happens if you get pregnant with twins and all of a sudden you need 4 bedrooms, not 3, or whatever the situation may be that people have to move? They
For $1 million,
buying-
they shouldn't have to have a
I
bigger
know,
house.
but it
anything could
happens.
happen.
It happens. So the other thing I want the public to understand is about upgrades in a new build.
Are you running for political office?
I could.
This is our PSA.
It's just it's this week that I've been dealing with this, and it is so frustrating because the builders are taking advantage of these buyers that have no idea. Oh, you want your cabinets extended 4 inches? Great, that's going to be another $8 grand. The appraiser's not going to account for that. You have to be careful of your upgrades. There are some very good builders that will say this is going to be a cash upgrade, right? If you want to do this upgrade, you have to pay it in cash because we know it's not going to appraise. There are other not so great builders on the naughty list that will roll it in and just write into the contract. Basically, the contract stated, this is in very layman's terms, that we know this home is not going to appraise pending the upgrades that you put in it.
Wow.
If it doesn't appraise, you still have to pay the purchase price.
So did they?
And that wasn't explained to them.
It was not explained to them at all because they did not have their own buyer representation.
So
Yeah,
here's
I-
my
We're right
comment.
here, guys. Just call us.
It's expensive
You
to hire a
just
professional, but it's even
call
more
out
expensive
name.
to not hire a professional.
Exactly.
So, you know,
I like the builders that do the structural upgrades, then you go to
Yes.
contract.
Yes.
Everything else you pay out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
Yeah.
And that is the way it should be done because that's transparent.
Yeah.
It is not transparent where you're like, oh yeah, get the upgrade, get the upgrade, get the upgrade, get the upgrade. Oh, you're at $850,000? Sorry, didn't appraise
So
for that.
they
when every
already-
other home in the
they
neighborhood's
were
500.
Right. They were already under contract. So how did this end up for them? You weren't able to get in.
We're still in limbo.
Yeah.
If
How low
they,
can you go?
if they're very strongly considering, because of the way they've been treated throughout this process and a slew of other things, they're very strongly considering walking away and losing their $55,000 deposit
Whew.
and getting a real estate attorney. That's costly. All because they didn't have a realtor to tell them,
Happy freaking holidays.
hey guys,
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I would have gone over that contract with them. I would have said, hey, listen, every builder's contract is different. We have to read this with a fine tooth comb so that I can then tell you what to expect.
Yes.
Nobody did that. Get representation, even if you are building, especially if you are building, you need buyer representation,
Absolutely.
not the builder rep. I'm going to step off my soapbox now.
But
I
coming in
sweat.
hot for the Rip Roaring Realtors.
Thanks for coming to Jenna's TED Talk.
From the 3 happy elves and the 1 Krampus, we're going to wish everybody watching a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and eventually a Happy New Year. So, everybody, just say bye, and we're going to sign off. Catch you next
Merry
time.
Christmas!
Was that it?
Toodaloo.
Oh, are we done?